Okay, we're going to make a start now. We welcome everyone here tonight. On those, not too many here tonight, must be quite a few at home. On those watching it on YouTube, on those, but it's a cold night, and thank you for those who have come out on those and that to come and see you here. Well, anyway, I'll start off with some news first of all. Just some news is what's been going around the EV scene at the moment. First one here was for Tesla. That just jumped 2 slides. That's better. Tesla's had some news on those. They've been in the press as well. Last month they had the Powerwall on those, was all in the news, and this month on those, instead of insane mode, what have we got? We've got ludicrous mode now. So they've got the cars to go even faster than they had before, like the Tesla Model S. This is the P85, the twin axle model. The way that they did it, they managed to increase the current from 1300 amps to 1500 amps up through the motor controller. So yes, it's the same battery as that's being used in the previous model, but by upgrading the circuit breakers and the fuses, the fusing system within the battery compartment, they've now respected it now at 1500 amps. And so 0 to 100 Ks has now gone down to 2.8 seconds from 3.2. And I think they were quoting that the acceleration of the car is more than 1 G. Now it's 1.1 or 1.2 G. So you're actually accelerating faster than you would fall off a building on those. So it is ludicrous on those, really quick. Not many petrol cars can keep up with it. There are only some of the specialty ones. And it's 10 grand. 10 grand for the upgrade is what you'd pay if you have to buy it on a new car. On those, 10 grand, extra for that upgrade. And then the other upgrade that they announced was they've gone to 90 kilowatt hours in their battery. The previous one I can't remember. I think was it 84, 82 kilowatt hours. So it's a slight increase in that in the capacity of the battery. And it's interesting the way that they've done it. The battery is the same size and the same weight, but they're using Panasonic now are using a battery that has a silicon included in the anode. Silicon will give more charge capacity, and that within the battery when it's added to the anode. But it's not a pure silicon anode, it has silicon added to it. So they're still playing around with the chemistry of the batteries on those and trying to improve their capacity and their performance on it. I thought that maybe Tesla had gone to LG on those like a lot of the other companies have, but no, they're still using Panasonic batteries, and Panasonic has released this upgrade. So another 3 grand more, and you'll get our 480 kilometre range at over 100 kilometres an hour. Wow. So that's the best in the class. But in the hobbyist scene, like in the conversion scenes, there's also been a lot of work that's been going on as well with Tesla and that at the moment on those. Michael Elias, who's an engineer at CERN in Switzerland, the big atom smasher over there, he's been doing some work with the Tesla drivetrains on those. So we're starting to see Tesla drivetrains coming out of wrecks on those, and they could be put into a vehicle, into a conversion on those. So we'll start to see them come available. But then you've got to work out how to work it. So what Michael Elias, the system he's doing, he's come up with a driver board that will drive any of the AC motors. So it's a universal driver board. It's using standard chips, standard technology, and then it feeds the 3-phase signal into the inverter of the Tesla Model S. But he's tested it with the Tesla drivetrain, and he's also tested it with a Chevrolet Volt. And with the inverters that are used in AC motors, they have to be matched. The inverter has to match the motor. It's not like quite often what we see in our electric bikes and in some of the other motors where you can use one brand of controller and another brand of inverter. But these ones they have to match. But the way that Michael's got around that is he's included a learning mode in the software. So the software will actually go through a diagnostic, a pre-test mode to learn how to control that particular motor, and then it will then operate correctly on that motor. So that's an additional step that had to be done in the motor controller. This over here is the motor controller board Michael Elias has developed, because that is a Tesla inverter, and the drivetrain actually goes on the end, but that's the inverter. And so he's able to feed the IGBTs directly on those and sort of bypass the controller that's within the Tesla inverter and feed it himself. So this is one development. So as you will see on the next slide, the Tesla drivetrain is rated at 310 kilowatts. It's 416 horsepower. So it's one of the most powerful AC drivetrains available on those. The other ones, like you get from Siemens, and that aren't rated that much power. And the drivetrain includes inverter, the motor, differential on those. It's all included within the one package, and that within the Tesla Model S. Why I put this slide up here is there's another team that's also working on trying to hack the Tesla Model S drivetrain so it can be used in conversions. And this team is from EVTV, and they've done it a different way. They're going to include the original Tesla inverter and that, and they're actually working by sending it the correct messages to make it operate. So in other words, they're trying to crack the CAN bus communications that's used for controlling the drivetrain in a Tesla Model S. And they've had success on those back in June. They've got it all going, got it running. They had a Tesla motor running on their test bench. And now they're just continuing to refine that and work out how they're going to do it. With the Tesla Model S, it's CAN bus communication to the drivetrain. They use an Arduino with little CAN shield. But the throttle and the brake are hardwired. Originally, they thought that the instructions for the throttle and that might go down the CAN bus, but it's not. It's just 6 direct wires. So you can take the motor out of a Tesla and you can put a throttle on your car, and those, and just wire it straight in. On those, it's done there. And the same with the braking system as well is also hardwired as well. So there's actually a switch on the brake pedal, and then the regen actually works through the throttle, you know, like your one pedal throttle system and that. What they found out was that there's 7 CAN messages that are needed to run the drivetrain. So after they analysed all the messages that were going down the CAN bus, they found that there were 7 messages that were necessary for the drivetrain to work. And they've already worked out what those 7 messages are. But the future work that they plan to do is they want to know the drivetrain also produces other information that's coming out on the CAN bus, and they want to work out what that is. They think some of them might be like the RPM of the motor, information coming out about what current the controller is drawing, and then there's also temperature sensors within the motor and the inverter, so they would also be coming out through the CAN bus as well. So they've got a little bit more work to do, and that before they crack all the messages coming back from the inverter, giving you diagnostics and information on how the motor is going. But that's the basic system. So they want to be able to crack the CAN bus messages, and then a motor out from a Tesla could be used from a wreck and could be put into a car or a dune buggy or whatever you wanted to build. Also coming up in November on those is the Festival of Cars, which has been organised at Cruden Farm, which is down in Langwarrin. It's on the 22nd of November. The RACV is sponsoring this event, and they've invited us to be involved with it as well. They'd like to have electric vehicles to be there. Tesla's already attending this event, and Nissan and Mitsubishi and that are looking at it as well. And because the RACV knew that we ran the EV Expo, they've invited us also to become involved with this event as well. And then we could have a few conversions and a few other cars on that there as well. So we're looking for someone to be involved in organising. Well, the main thing that needs to be done for this event is that there's a charging station, on those, which is owned by the RACV Club Assist. They have a charging trailer that's used, which is a portable one. You know, you hook it up onto the back of a car, it's on a tow bar. tow it down to where you're going to use it, and it can charge 2 cars at once. It has a generator on it. It's got an LPG generator and it runs on LPG. So they start it up, and it can then charge 2 cars level 2 charging at once. So we're looking for someone who would pick up the trailer, someone who has a tow bar and that on a car. The trailer is kept in Dandenong south at the Club Assist headquarters, and then just take it down to the event and then bring it and then return it afterwards, so that it's the end there. So this will be a great event. There's going to be classic cars there. You know, it'll be quite a bit involved, that on it, and Cruton Farm, and that's really well known. And then I was doing a project which I've been talking about for the last couple of months on using charging stations, and how as club members and that we'd be able to use the charging stations. So last month I brought along this charge adapter that I built, enabling you to plug a conventional 240 volt, you know, power plug level 1 charge into the charge adapter and use it with a EV charging station. Well, last week I went and tried it out, and then I've got it going. So here's my Vectrix. This is down at the ChargePoint charge station. It's a level 2 charge station sitting on the wall there. And there's the adapter box there, the adapter box that I've used. So I plug my Vectrix into the adapter box and the charger through there. So I went down and charged my bike on one of the public charge stations. So the adapter and that's working. So that could be used with one of our conversion cars, which, you know, you might plug into the garage at home, and then you can now use it on a level 2 charging station. Right. I was looking at the fast charge, you know, the level 3 fast charge, which uses the CHAdeMO protocol. But after research that's been done around the world, we've found that you have to have a battery that's 230 volts or higher to be able to use the CHAdeMO charging standard on those. So at CHAdeMO, most of the chargers won't charge a 144 volt battery that's in, you know, a lot of our conversion cars. So I'm not going to be bothering trying to continue working on with that, because it's quite a complex project on those. But yeah, you have to have a higher voltage battery system to be able to use the CHAdeMO charging system. So that's as far as we've got. That's as far as I'm going to go with the public charging project. So we have an adapter on those, and I can build an adapter for anyone who wants one in through there. It's fused. It's fused at 40 amps or 32 amps. It's fused at for the thing, and this one's got an on-off switch on it, so at least you can hook it all up on those and activate the charge station, and then just flick it on those. You're not trying to plug in, you know, a live outlet on those, or, you know, disconnect the car by pulling the plug off the side. You've got an on-off switch on that. So that's some of the news that we've got for tonight. Anyone else got any news they wanted to bring to the group? Anyone else been happening? What you been up to, Dean?
I'm just going to say the world's fastest accelerating car is electric now. So I think it's 0 to 101.7 seconds or something. Car. Yeah. So that's pretty exciting.
I think I saw you put that on Facebook, wasn't it? It was the one. Was it in the US?
Yeah.
On those. So have they run the car? Did it go through?
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure if they've done like anything official, but that's what they're claiming.
Yeah.
I think it's 1.7 seconds.
Yeah, so, yeah, I think that was right in there. Isn't it like on the salt flats or something? They were going to try and race it, you know, like what they did with the Bluebird.
Yeah, that the electric car they're running for the speed record. I think that's another one.
Oh, okay.
That one they've had it ready to go for the last 2 years, but the salt flats have not been hard enough for them to run yet. So, but that one should be the fastest car in the world.
Wow! So there's 2 of them we're really talking about there, aren't we?
Yeah, 2.
On those, one like fastest accelerating,
accelerating, and the other one's just flat out fastest.
A high speed one. Oh, okay.
Well, I think those petrol heads run for their money.
Yeah, that's true. Isn't it? And I mean, Pikes Peak, wasn't it? We had the electric cars came first and second on those, even though both of them had technical issues and can go faster. Yeah, they still managed first and second. Let's see what they do next year.
Yeah.
Actually, Rice Miller, who came first, he lost power halfway up the hill. He's got 6 motors. He had 3 motors on the front wheel and 3 motors on the back. And he lost one of the axles. Either I can't remember if it's the front or the back. So he only had half the power on those of what he did, and he still won convincingly. So that was pretty cool.
That's amazing.
Any other news and that coming up through the group? You want to go to anything else? No? Okay, well, I might hand it over to the people from BajaBoard now. Thanks for coming and let's see what they've got to say. Yeah.
I'm on the board in the actual lecture theatre.
Oh, pretty light.
Pretty light indeed.
You got photos, right?
I do have photos. Sending enough to the side. So, hi everyone. My name is George. That's
James.
So we are the team of BajaBoard at the moment. So I look after the business and operations, general management side.
I'm the Chief Technical Officer and the product design.
So this is the BajaBoard. Well, it all started with that one back in 2010 or something.
Yeah.
We
Just
decided
to prove the concept of independent steering on a skateboard hadn't really been done before, so it's just a basic proof of concept to prove independent steering on a skateboard.
Can I ask, how is that steering different to when you actually, is it the leaning type steering like a typical skateboard?
So it still activates through leaning, but instead of actually turning on a pivot on a standard solid truck axle, it'll actually, the wheels actually turn independent from each other.
Okay.
So it's way different than any other conventional skateboard on the market. But this was just to prove the concept that independent steering actually works. So.
I think there's 2 versions of the starting story. The first version is the fact that we used to be skateboarders, because now that we've ridden this for 3 years, we can't get back on a skateboard anymore. The stability is just not there. We're not used to that level of being able to fall out from underneath you. The first version of the story is we love skateboarding so much we decided we want to put some motors onto it and really go off-road, because it just wasn't fast enough. We're getting too lazy with the pushing with the feet. Something more exciting, give you that freedom anywhere you want to ride. And the second version of that story is actually we wanted to go and design an electric car to start with, but that was too expensive. And so we decided to model it down into a skateboard version. And so those two both are true, and they sort of came together to form the BajaBoard. So from that picture up there to this has taken about 3.5 years to develop through about 3 different iterations. So we started off in the garage in 2011, and that was the very first proof of concept board we ever built, using 12-inch pram tires. Similar motors to what we have today, in fact, but we've custom designed ours now. And very simplistic, over-designed, bulky metal structures.
Very robust, because we really didn't know what was going to happen. Dynamics and riding, so it's probably about twice the weight of this thing. So.
That was about 35 kilos. That wouldn't fit in the car and was not very pleasant to carry around, but it moved, and it sort of proved to us, okay, well, suspension does work, there's merits to it, steering works. Now, there were some issues, obviously. The batteries underneath were exposed. They're not very healthy to longevity. And even though it could go very fast, the theoretical top speed was about 80 k's an hour.
Yeah.
We only ever went up to about 55. That was your.
Yeah.
I do think we can show a video of that on this one.
So you still got that?
That one. There's parts and pieces lying around, but we sort of cannibalize it as we go along.
So look away if you've got a headache. So that was some lost footage we found before today. We're chasing a car on the road. Shouldn't show this. It's incriminating evidence for us.
It's going on YouTube.
No, it's all right. Then that's already on YouTube. So
Okay.
so that was doing about 50, I think 55 on the street, and I'm going to say that's a 60 an hour zone.
Wow, cool.
And so that, yeah, that's, so in terms of speed, actually worked very well, even though you never needed the top level of it. But the issue came in when we tried to go to the lower end, the starting torque. And because we wanted to build an off-road board, it had to take off very quickly, but we ran into issues where it just couldn't get over rough terrains and would get bogged. So it wouldn't go over sand. That was pretty embarrassing, but we weren't selling that one, so it was okay. In 2014, we decided, well, 2014 wasn't it? Yeah, 13. We started designing the Generation 2, which was the one we brought over to the first EV Expo we attended.
Oh, yeah.
So we went in the complete other direction for that one. In the very first model, it was all bulk, heavy. You can crash into a wall, it's fine. You probably won't be fine, but the ball will be fine. We went to the other direction. We said, look, we're going to cut off all the weight and try to minimize it as much as possible. So we went with everything pretty much carbon fiber. So all the arms were replaced with carbon fiber rods. The deck, we made a mold ourselves and molded that. I think that's the only, well, the shock towers, mounting positions, they were carbon fiber. They still are carbon fiber at the moment. And we ended up doing a lot of gluing of rod ends to tubes at home for many weekends. That's what it looked like when it's on the kitchen table, completely taken apart. That was a long time ago. And when it was put together, it was still in the prototyping phase, so we weren't going for the entirely finished look, or the batteries were still exposed, but we decided it would be a good idea to move it from the bottom to the top, where it's a bit more protected. And that board, we limited top speed to 50 k's an hour. And you know, and we did do the Kickstarter campaign on the back of that board as well. But unfortunately for Kickstarter, that board was too far from finished, and people saw through the fact that to actually get to a finished product, it was going to take another year. And so we got some seed funding out of that to take the project forward. But the actual board itself wasn't received. It was received with great interest, but it wasn't received overly well in terms of purchase. And so you see, it did go quite quickly across off-road surfaces. That's not exactly too tough for us now, but back then was okay.
This footage a long time.
We have not seen this footage in a long time.
Are you all the crash test dummies, or do you have someone in particular who takes it out?
We ride it regularly, but we also have like skateboard and test riders, mountain bikers, people we can call on from different fields of experienced boards.
For the record, though, we won't mention the other brand's name. The only time we've actually fallen off and hurt ourselves seriously was after we rode this for 2 years. We're so used to riding with the stability, we got on someone else's board, tried to brake, the brake just wasn't there, and then when it did kick in, it was a one-wheel drive board. It just pivoted and sent one of us flying off, and it was just disaster. So that was the only serious injury we claim to have today.
Yeah. That bit of footage you just showed, I take it that was someone who, one of you got.
Yeah, that's me, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And you've been riding these through the development phase, etc. Someone like me who hasn't been on a skateboard since I was a young teenager, how long would you expect someone like me to have to
You should ask George that, because George
build up to be able to ride?
Yeah, George used to skateboard as a kid, but then took a massive break until.
I didn't skateboard. I skateboarded when I was 12 to 14. Then I completely stopped and changed sport. It took me about half an hour to get up to about 40 k's an hour on this.
Okay.
Because of the stability, you don't have the fear of it going out from under your feet. You have no fear of running into a rock and having that scenario where you fall over. That's one of the reasons I stopped skateboarding, because I just couldn't hack the fact that I can ride and suddenly a small rock and you're off. And when you're turning, it's very intuitive. You know, you don't get the speed wobbles at high. You still get it about 50, sure, but you certainly don't get it at 20 or 30 that you would get with normal skateboard. So yeah, half an hour to get your confidence up, and once you've been riding it for a few weeks, and just step up it, it's fine. So after that little exercise, we spent another year up till now. Well, not quite now. Earlier this year, we were designing the first release model, as we call it, the early bird production model. So everything had to be fine-tuned and tidied up. So all the batteries, I can show on the actual board, all the batteries are now contained within our nicely warning label box to tell you not to ride it because you'll get hurt. The suspension arms have been changed out from carbon rods back to aluminium, 6061 aluminium, for the reason that the carbon rods, even though they were very light, they were very strong, they couldn't take a front-on impact. And every time you hit a tree or something, which we usually did, you end up having to drag it back to the house and replace all the rods. Not expensive. Rods are fine, but just a pain in the bum. Yeah. After a while.
Better durability.
Yeah, better durability.
How much? What's the weight penalty changing over? Just 100 grams or something?
Oh, look, it back then was about 21 kilograms. We're up to about 25 now. So 4 kilos, but we also changed the battery in the process. We were working with lithium polymer at the start, and having seen a few bad reviews of those things exploding, we decided to go back to lithium iron phosphate. So after we looked at your website about the graphene battery cells, looking up, but we'll see maybe in the future.
Yeah, that's right. There's a number of batteries available, aren't there? So.
No, exactly. We've also designed our own controller. So in the past, we were using a big RC car controller, so that was very hideous. So we decided to go back to the drawing board and get ourselves a little mountain bike feel that was the inspiration. A rocket type, so to accelerate, you would just press it there, or you hold it with 2 fingers, and to brake, you would brake it on the top portion. We can also...
It's like a rocker.
Yeah, like a rocker.
And the use for brakes, are they just the motors reversing, or?
Yeah, the motors.
It's mainly just the regen. I mean, there's so much force in 4 motors that we can never get full brakes on it without falling off. So yeah, there's enough brakes.
So it's the idea of
Yeah, I
mean,
mean,
no mechanical brakes whatsoever.
People expect it to accelerate fast because they've got 4 motors, but no one ever sort of expects it to stop as quickly as anything else. And that's always the comment we get from new riders saying, my Fig or Evolver takes whatever meters to stop, but I always fell off when I press the brakes here. So you have to brace for both the acceleration and the brake. Just a matter of practice. We can actually limit the top speed. So we have 3 preset speeds. The first one is about 10 k's an hour, I think, 15 k's an hour. So it's pretty tame. You drive around on the streets, or not the streets, I should say, on off-road paths.
Theoretical streets.
Theoretical streets. Then we go to 30 or 33. And then the final one is about 50. And that's when you'll get down a bit and maybe hold the front and get ready to have a bit of fun. And we put in brake lights for the sake of it as well, because it's nice.
Very nice touch.
Yeah. So the actual fundamental philosophy behind this is very much a car. If we show you this photo, which is actually the chassis and the main core of the board, the deck itself is more of an accessory. We can replace that with foot pads, with whatever else we can, as long as you can stand on it, or with the seats to make it into a cart. It's variable down the track. At the moment, we're working with MTM down in Oakley South. So we went out there last year and pitched and said, look, we're doing this project. We're looking for a manufacturing partner, getting assembled in Australia, tested and shipped out from here, even though the parts are procured from all over the world. And they said, yeah, it's very interesting, looking to diversify from, obviously the car industry isn't doing too well at the moment. So we're in there now and we're building our very first 50, which has all been pre-sold, and we've started to build the customer list for the second batch of production boards now. And we're also working with another group called the Australian Sports Technology Network. Went out there and did a pitching competition last year, won that one. And so we're part of the incubator program, looking to get ourselves ready to raise some capital and tackle the global market very seriously, not just bootstrapping, as people say. I do have a final video of the current board, in that one, because we can't ride it, it's too cold. We can at least watch a video of it.
I haven't seen this.
No. It's not the intended riding position, but you can put a seat on it.
Far away from the chair, are you?
I couldn't turn any that quickly.
It's right, catch a taxi the rest of the way.
It's so bad. You'll see we wear a lot of protective gear.
So you own one of these each, or you got three, two now?
We have 4 working at the moment, and the rest was just letting out the door as we finish them. Yeah, we've got
We're
4 at the
constantly
time.
testing something or improving the software and firmware side of things or doing mechanical changes. So there's, yeah, or just we'll write a manual, send it to our first customers and explain, you know, these are the changes in theory, these are the characteristics that will change to extend what they really are.
Will customers be able to update their own firmware by downloading a new?
Yeah, so we have a program board which you can plug into, and yeah, we'll update the firmware as we can, and change things that they can do.
The really proud thing of the current board is the fact that it's not only can go fast, it's going fast for a board once you get the speed up isn't that difficult. It's the fact that it can start in very, very bad terrain and have that low end torque.
Oh, nice one.
Well, it's going through sand quite well now.
Yeah, it is going through the same quite
It's
well.
got the 12 all through there.
A lot of it came down to the actual programming, getting that power train to run right, or the drivetrain.
Do you have any, like, how do you deal with the heat from the motors? Because they must get a bit warm when you...
The temperature sensor puts it to the motor and
Sensors.
Yeah. And so every motor has a decent temperature, and you set temperature go more than 120 degrees, and then you shut down. And we give it error, so you know which motor is getting on.
Right, yeah.
A lot of things here are still over spec, so that we can upgrade it in the future as well. So it's not getting too hot at the moment.
No, we never got a problem.
I see it'll go without the weight of a person on it to trigger any person present sensor, right? If you just held the trigger and let the thing go, when it got out of radio range, would it coast to a stop, brake gently, or keep going flat out?
Brake gently.
Yeah.
It's a valve, so once the signal drops out, it just goes to a complete stop, or it should just brake itself to a stop.
Right.
The radius is about 5 meters. You walk 5
Yeah.
meters away, it just cuts out. That's
We
it.
program the radio such that you can't get too far away without it tripping and turning off. So
At one stage, we tried like 1 meter, and that was a bit annoying. After you just walk away a tiny bit, it just dropped out and restart the board every single time. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
exactly,
Yeah, that's exactly right. You're on the board, it cut out. But yeah, 5 meters was always a reasonable range of, roughly in that order of magnitude. Yeah, so at the moment we're making the first batch. We're collecting orders for the second one. We're doing. I mean, the challenges now is no longer the technical side. The actual fundamental design is all done. It's now getting this to the mass production stage and really cutting that cost down so that we can add in margins for distributors and dealers. No trouble getting attention for it. We get, we easily get into magazines and online articles. It is a very high cost startup project to do. We'll keep saying we wish we did a phone app. That would have been a lot easier, but and a lot quicker as well. But yeah, it's been worth it. And look, we've got very good partners on board with MTM and the Australian Sports Tech Network, so they're supporting us to take this into the global market. We sort of see it in the next 2 to 3 years being a part of something like the X Games, where you can race this around a track or not necessarily public transport until these things get legalized. We'll pitch it to the sporting side as opposed to travel.
Using 4 motors, I mean, what sort of torque are you is it delivering at?
It's about 6 Newton meters on each motor.
60.
6 Newton meters.
6.
Yeah, we don't need that much.
Yeah.
We can push it up and we draw more current, but keep it fairly low at about 6.
Yeah.
Having independent motor control is really good because we can have an electronic differential. We can also do front and rear balance as well. So yeah, if you want to lose traction in the rear or you want to maintain traction in the front, we can set it up to do such. And it's the same with the electronic differential. We can run like a balance diff, like a car. We can run a positive diff, or we can run a negative diff. We can do any sort of diff you want to do within the means of the power that we have. So we have a tilt sensor in the board. We know what angle we're riding on. You know what throttle we're giving. Put out through our algorithm, which we can't talk to you about, and that spits out what we actually control and how we actually turn around the corner as well.
So that's looking at the difference between the axle and the board tilt rather than just actual tilt of the board.
Yeah. So we're looking. Yeah.
It's not like you go kind of sideways along a hill and it starts turning.
No, it's a mechanical sensor. Yeah. I think we also have an accelerometer.
We tried, but was too sensitive.
Yeah, too sensitive. So
it was reading all of the vibration.
But we have real-time speed sensors on the board, and along with the tilt sensor, and along with your throttle application, you'll actually determine what actual power to give you around the corner. So you get less diff at high speeds, it's not really used, so you get more diff at low speeds.
So what sort of runtime do you get, and is there some sort of warning sensor to tell you better turn around and go back home so you can recharge?
Depending on the terrain you're riding you're on or how heavy you are, I'm about 70 kilos and I probably get about 45 minutes to an hour out of it.
Just 1 hour.
Yeah, but riding the road, I'll just get around pretty easily. 45 minutes on like dirt or half an hour really in like muddy terrain. I don't know what you get, George.
I go about 45 minutes in. My standard is always around the footy oval, just go riding around there after it rains, so it's quite soggy and boggy, and I can go 40 minutes out of that. So yeah, because the amount of terrain this one can go on is so much greater than the other skateboards, it really varies a lot.
Yeah.
So when we quote people, we say, look, it's between 30 to 60 minutes, and how will you treat it depends on how
Yeah.
There is a battery indicator there as well, but we generally say, look, you can check the indicator, or if you feel it start jittering, then it's obviously going out of battery.
The good thing is we are not pushing the max of the battery, so we can have more, but for safety reasons, we are not gonna charge like maximum or discharge like
Right.
We're always measuring the voltage of the battery, and we see it drop below a certain point, we'll actually cut the contactor, just sort of going to screw the battery. We're still trying to write proper algorithms to see as the battery drops through throttle application, it doesn't actually trip the sensor every time. But once you actually get to a certain point, if you go below that threshold, the board will slow down and turn on.
Right. You think of using maybe NMC or more energy dense batteries?
There's
because a lot of folks before they had the puncture test and all the rest of it. So I suppose you assume that people would be riding these pretty hard.
Yeah, that's the main consideration. We've got 2 mils of aluminium until it hits the battery, and we haven't punctured that case. It's very difficult to.
Punctured the floor of Teslas.
Yeah.
So they had to upgrade their floor pan.
Okay. That's the main consideration why we use this battery. It is a headway cell, standard in bikes, rarely available. There's a lot of documents out there and specs for it. So
yeah.
I mean, we really would like to go to something like an NCR, but it's starting out. They're still relatively expensive. The battery, controlling BMS is still an intense thing to do. So.
The discharge rating was a bit too low for us as well, considering the space we had in there to fit everything else in, plus the battery pack.
Be about 81 cells around that.
Oh, yeah.
Physically fit that in.
Yeah, it's probably like the NMC cells, like some of them that are going to power tools.
Yeah.
Some of the 2.5, 3 ampere hour NCM cells that are going to the power tools, the INR range.
Yeah.
May suit.
Yeah.
So what's the battery capacity at the moment, and what sort of power are the motors putting out?
So battery capacity, 15 amp hours.
15 amp hours, yeah.
Each motor.
And running what voltage?
26.6.
36?
26.
26. Oh, okay.
So yeah, 8 years.
Try and keep below high voltages, just safer, especially if you're running through like hot puddles or ponds or whatever. Just try to keep it low.
Yeah.
In case somebody, like one of our customers, wants to actually fix it themselves, there's less chance of things going very wrong.
Yeah.
And each motor is rated to 3 kilowatts, but in reality, we only ever get 1 kilowatt out of each one.
You don't need any more than that, otherwise, just spin wheels and
Yeah,
plenty of time.
on a small vehicle like that. So
Yeah.
it's plenty.
So the powers there mainly have bigger motors just for the life of the component, the longevity of the component, having bigger things, more copper, just has a longer life really.
Yeah.
So I noticed earlier boards had footholds.
Yes.
This one doesn't.
It's optional. We offer it as an option to people who really want it. It's a semi foothold or bindings, and the only reason we don't put it on by default is if you ever want to come off, you want to bail, you want to be free to jump off and tuck and roll. You hurt yourself a bit, but it's better than breaking a leg on the board. So we've never had any issues, even though we have ridden some of us with the bindings, but we always suggest that people look for the first 2 months riding it just right without bindings, and then if you're really comfortable with all the behaviour, you can put the bindings on if you want later on. We've heard horror stories about that, but on other boards, so we decided to just play it safe.
Yeah.
We come up with a few designs to mitigate that factor, so you have to use bindings. So we've got a concave convex deck as well, so it actually sort of traps your foot, even though you might when you start leaning on it, because we have a concave, your foot's still relatively flat.
Still got a flat spot.
Yeah. So the same, with the toe side turn. So that's one factor. We're using that. The concave of the deck works really well. Got a lot of good feedback from customers who are riding and saying, that really holds your foot. I don't need the binding anymore, which is load off that line. So
I mean, majority of 90% of people that buy the board from us today is going to use it for pretty tame riding with respect to what this can do. It's only sort of 10% that are worried that when they really go nuts on the jumps and they go, okay, I want to put a binding on. Okay, fine. You know the risks.
No doubt, regardless of the legalities, some people are going to take them for short trips on public roads now and then, but I assume that's not what most people are actually going to buy them for. Where are they actually going to be riding them mostly?
If you have private land on big backyards, they tell us, or
State
farms,
forests.
they can take it on. The other people just tell us they're going to take it on the same place they take the other electric skateboards.
Yeah.
Yep. And I would say, okay, well, you could. We follow the legal model of the fix involved, saying, look, you have to check if it's legal to ride it, and then that's your responsibility. We're providing you with a tool to have fun with. So just we know we're looking at getting this onto a go-kart track and a motocross track at some point. We also we're collaborating with a few different brands of automotive manufacturers. We're looking at getting onto their test tracks, and we're not going to win a race against the cars, but it's good fun. And
maybe one of those go-kart tracks that could hire out the boards instead of riding go-karts. You could get on some motorised boards. That'd be
a few jousting sticks as well.
Sure, why not? We'll try anything.
So you sold these to your customers, or are they just people, skateboarders and then trying them out?
No, that we actually sold them. Our target demo, we don't target skateboarders with this because the price point of that is $5,000. So there's going to be our target demographic male, 25 to 50, have some sort of tech background, into snowboarding, mountain bike riding, sort of people that would pay $5,000 for a mountain bike. Not someone that would look $100 for a skateboard is not going to.
Yeah.
Even though they're interested, they're not going to be able to buy it.
Yeah.
Whereas the more senior gentlemen, they want to have that bit of fun. And our oldest customer to date is about 62, and he said, "I used to skateboard, but my knees can't take the bumps anymore, so I like the springs."
Sweet.
It's all right.
So the suspension on it, I saw it before at Rock Shops. Are you still using those, or you've changed to something
No,
else?
we've changed to just a straight damper and spring now, metal spring. We tried with the Rock Shocks before because they're suited for a mountain bike. It's one wheel, it's one person weight. They actually have a lot of
Resistance.
yeah, resistance through the piston, through the air piston. It's good at like high speeds, but at low speeds it just wasn't directing like we wanted. So that friction was just too high. So we just went back to a standard sort of mountain bike shock with adjustable rebound. We have a number of different springs we can put on there. You know, we've got about 4 different springs, I think. And we just ask the customer, what's your weight? And we have a spring dedicated to them.
Yeah.
We also have 2 types of turn springs, which are the return springs for the actual board. We have 2 different weights for those as well. So we can fully suit.
The black ones inside, yeah.
Yeah, they actually return you up to your natural position to help you back up. So you don't just follow to one side and just keep turning.
So one of the technical challenges for you must have been like to get the 4 motors to coordinate.
That's actually not
That's pretty easy.
pretty easy, yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it's the sync issue of the motor. Like the motors just have to be wound all the same.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, you should have an
Because
issue.
the motor control does everything. So
Did you find that the motors actually load share through the road surface?
Yeah, they'll actually sync
Yeah.
together. I mean, there might be 1% difference on each.
Yeah.
But it's negligible in the grand scheme of things.
And when you're skipping across the ground, do you actually notice a surge in the speed, or is it,
no,
what's the
really.
response time in seconds, or
Response from the throttle.
acceleration from 0 to a top speed? What's
well, we always ride with the stop start.
Yes.
So
We did ride it without soft start in the previous model, and that was 0 to 30. We never went to 0 to 50. 0 to 30 was about 1 second.
Yeah.
This one we decided to put in launch a soft start, so it ramps up. It doesn't just skip by just slow ramp. It's not just straight away. So well, maybe 2-3
Otherwise you
seconds.
would fall off. Like
You will fall off.
Yeah.
It's good for burnouts, but I think most people just fall off and
Yeah.
hurt themselves.
It's pretty much instantaneous. Like
yeah,
when we ride without launch control, we can't notice it.
No.
So if you're on power, it's there for you straight away.
I was more interested, you talked about the electronic differential on those and able to change the characteristics on turning and
Yep.
things and then like that. Of course, one car that comes to mind, of course, was the Rimac Concept 1,
Okay.
which was the Croatian car there where they, you actually had several settings on the software where you could have an oversteer setting or a neutral or an understeer setting on those, which they obviously did electronically with their four-wheel drive system.
Exactly, yeah, that's the exact same thing we want to do. Also, the efficiency side of things, and comes back to the motor sync, because you've got a different control on to one side, so we don't want to overpower one when it's not doing the same amount of work. So we'll actually, have efficiency through the differential as well.
So when you're turning, you actually drive the outside wheel a little bit harder than the inside wheel?
That's
Well, it depends.
differential you set.
You can drive the outside harder, or you can drive the inside less. So
So we
we
have
can play with
a
it.
positive differential, a balanced differential, and a negative differential.
Excellent.
Yeah, we mainly see like negative differentials more for efficiency, so we don't overload the inside motors too much.
Yeah.
Positive differential is when you want to go a bit crazy, just get a bit of wheel spin or drift out in corners or.
Sweet.
I mean, we do everything. We do say like a lock differential at the rear and a differential at the front. There's a plethora of things you can do, and that's what we're going to be in our program for our customers.
So effectively, you've got stability control.
Yeah, so to speak.
Yes, in reality.
But we started off, whole thing behind this was originally going to be a car, but we have to prove it in a concept first, and then we've got to make a little scale model, like what do we make a skateboard, and then we just come up with this. So hopefully down the line, do some scooters and some bikes, and then we'll get to our
Quad
car.
bike next, maybe, hey?
Yeah, we
Just stick some fairing on it, that's it.
Yeah.
Fairing and a license plate.
Yeah.
Nothing
Yeah,
hard to
yeah.
get some indicators on this, I think.
That's right, some of the technology that you've developed there, as you said, can be put onto
Exactly,
future vehicles, onto other projects that you might want to do later on.
Yep.
Yeah.
On those. So you're saying you've got your first production run going through?
Yeah, so we're producing 50 right now,
50
and
of
then
them.
I think we're going to open the pre-orders up again.
We're starting to build it now. We've we've got a few orders already after we opened it for about 3 days. So we average about 3 to 4 inquiries a day. They don't all say want to buy, but they inquire about timing. What we find is it is not the cheapest board, but when people ride it, they go, I can feel why it costs what it costs. And the biggest challenge for us at the moment is timing. So we say, look, if you put the order in now, we'd have to wait until there's minimum order quantity. That's economically feasible. That might take a few months, and then it's going to be another 2-3 months before we can build it. And so not too bad, because we can't build that many physically ourselves at the moment. So we're happy with those figures, which is why at the same time we're also doing a separate project working with the investment networks to say, look, let's get some funding going and get the tooling set up so we can crack out a 100-day at much lower volumes, lower costs, sell it to the distributors.
To have 3 wheels in contact with the road and 1 not, what's the difference in speed on a straight run?
You probably wouldn't even notice. I mean, you
Could it be about 3%?
Yeah, it's big negligible on your feet.
Yes.
It'd be so low. I mean, we can ride this on 2 motors relatively easily. We still have no difference.
Yeah.
If you're going off-road.
You only need 4 when you start it, and once you get to 10, 20 k's an hour, you can shut the front 2 off. And
I was asking you a question because it tells me about slip factor,
Okay.
how much slip you got.
Yeah, we have speed sensors on the wheels. We actually know relatively what they're doing against each other.
It's pretty neat.
Yeah.
What's the drive? How's the drivetrain work from the motor to the wheel?
It's just a HTD belt, 5 HTD belt, ratio of 1:4, 1 on the motor, 4 on the rocket.
How much is the electronics hand built, and how much is it off the shelf components?
Nothing. Oh, there's
Nothing which way.
There's like contactors and like fuses and stuff here and there, but PCB.
PCB or we made from scratch. PCB from motor, because the motor have a sensor, and we made the PCB. PCB of the board made from scratch. PCB on the end controller is 2 PCB on the bottom and same thing. So yeah, PCB,
I mean, the only thing that's standard would be the motor controllers themselves, the SCs themselves. Everything else, yeah, we had to play with them.
yeah, apart the contactor.
We try to go off the shelf. I mean, we really did because it's cheaper, and then it's not
Yeah, you
work.
wouldn't find anything
It just
that
didn't
would
work.
suit your application. No.
Or it's burn out after about 2 rides. I mean, this is really the first ball we can take out day after day, go for rides, and we'll just come back. It's dirty, it's muddy, but we'll run the next day. In generation 1 and 2, we'll come back, something's broken, we've got to go fix it. It just,
What's a turning circle?
It's probably just a normal road, side to side.
we can adjust the steering, so we can adjust it to slow speed, maximum steer, just via the mechanical linkages on the steering rods.
Yep.
If you want to go faster, you take that off and you can chuck it onto a less sensitive steering point. There are 3 points you can adjust it by.
Yep.
And so, depending on what's the narrowest will be the normal street. If you go to the sort of least sensitive, probably 2 streets worth.
Roughly how many meters will we be talking about?
Probably about 4 or 5.
With a skateboard like that, I mean, you could probably pick the front of it up and turn it if you're in a area where you need to turn it quickly.
We also have reverse.
Dials.
You have to reverse.
If you're getting away from the cops, you can't stop and lift it and turn it around.
You just go flat out and keep going.
Yeah. But there's so many things that are adjustable on the caster to tow in, tow out, steering rail, steering handle, suspension, stiffness, dampness, turn spring dampness, turn springs themselves. So yeah.
We want to follow the sort of RC car model, business models, where you sell the basic board, as Tesla does. They sell the base model, and then you option it up with titanium fasteners or whatever. And by the time you finish, the $100,000 board $100,000 car is about $250,000, and where'd that go?
Yes, all the options.
So would you classify it as the perfect getaway vehicle?
Depends what you're getting away from.
If you come home and it's really, really muddy or under, how careful do you have to be cleaning?
If you don't hit the motor with the hose, you can just clean all corners pretty easily just with the hose. The rest of the time it's just a brush.
Yeah, I toothbrush it, then with a cloth. Probably compress air, blow out the motors, just get the dusty out of it.
Is there a cover that's not fitted here that sort of covers sort of the side?
That's what we try to keep the weight down. You find the front is usually very clean because all the stuff gets shot to the back, and the back end you've got to clean very well. The front end's fine. More than that, we don't. I mean, if the intended riding isn't in mud, but we do go and test it in mud, and it just keeps running afterwards.
With the position of the
Stone damage to the side, it hasn't been an issue.
Not really. Maybe some paint chipping, that's about it.
with the position of the front and possibly rear wheels, do you find it throws water or mud up at the rider?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
That's part of the experience. If you're going to go right there, you can't complain about getting dirty.
Mudguards,
Yeah.
carbon fibre mudguards.
How much of the adjustability do you think will have to be removed to try and reduce costs? How much, I should say, will survive the cost reductions?
I don't think much. I think, relative term, it's not a real added cost.
Most of it is like just adding an extra hole somewhere.
You take material out.
Yeah.
I think it'd be very interesting if you managed to get a sport that was involved with this particular vehicle. You said, I mean, the Olympics and that would be fantastic, but you know, to have some particular class of sport, you know, an off-road event or something that one of the sports institute to get involved in creating a particular class for this vehicle.
Yeah.
On those, that would really kick you off and get you going too. And
especially if there's so much adjustability, then you know, it's a chance for riders then to sort of you know, fine tune it and get all techie and
Get how they want to feel.
I think it'd make exciting television as well if they had a class and that where they were racing these things, you know, on a competitive course or something around it.
Yeah. Well,
It'd be very good.
No, it's really fun testing it with more than in the past we had one board, one person rode it only one time, but with 3 boards, 4 boards, the fun just it multiplies.
Racing,
race.
Apart from the LEDs on the back, is there
Talk about
anything?
karting tracks. Couldn't you combine this sort of sport with karting, for example?
You could. I don't want to get run over by a cart, but yes, I mean for the lower class, we will match it.
Fairly small, big.
yeah, that's right, like putting it on a go-kart track.
Yeah, I've got a birthday to go to at Silhouette go-kart tracks. I'm taking this with me, so
What percentage of your testing has been with both vehicles running at the same time, side by side, with different settings, so you can see how they perform with respect to each other?
All the time.
What percentage?
Yeah.
With different motor.
That makes a heap of sense.
Yeah. We never test the same thing side by side. I mean, if George is out there, he's a bit heavier than I am, so he's testing some different characteristics or different springs or shocks. And then Ali's probably testing some crazy differential setting or some high-speed setting or something.
Yeah. Battery. Now we have new motors.
So he goes faster downhill, faster up.
Apart from the LEDs on the back, is there anything that really defines which is the front and which is the rear?
I think there's a
Yeah,
little
the tail lights.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, they've got actual headlights, but we normally will put a sticker there just to show that was the front. But no, I mean the other way we identify is which side has the warning label on it. Or we say, look, just turn it on and give it a bit of a squeeze and we'll find out.
Is there anything to stop you from just turning around by looking the other direction and just having it go at the same speed? There's no kind of bias in terms of which way it goes fastest.
As well in either direction.
It can, yeah. Yeah, it can go both directions, but I think the motors it's set up to go in one more efficiently, much more efficient.
10%.
Yeah. On one like forward 100%, of course, reverse 40% maximum.
Yeah.
So like,
I got that.
and in reverse there isn't any those controller, is nothing. So it's just like muscle. That's it.
If you're travelling forward and you suddenly decide you want to go in reverse, can you actually set reverse, and will it actually slow down and then go reverse while you're hard on the reverse button?
It just
No,
you
you
have
just
to
stop.
brake first. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, stop and then you can reverse. Otherwise, the motor control will give a 40 limit.
What's the RPM of the motors? What do they spin out at?
About 4,000. Yeah, top speed. Yeah.
Wow.
The wheel should do about 1,000.
A bit more for time.
And your warnings on the side, just roughly, what are they?
Where
I can't read them this distance.
Always, never.
yeah.
That's the big letters.
Well, safety gear, standard safety gear, at least helmet, but certainly with elbow pads, knee pads, the whole gear. No drunk riding, no drug riding, don't ride with a passenger. It's a dangerous sport. Be careful, you could get injured or die. Is the
So
Just giving me ideas for that wheel sticker.
yeah.
Yeah.
Please do your pre-ride checks. I mean, we do ask people to, sometimes after a few rides, some of the screws do come loose. We've not tightened them all, but with the vibration comes loose, just double check it before you go out.
Your rock might get caught somewhere stick. Just have a look.
So one of those lists is actually a maintenance list, is it?
No, we've got an actual manual that goes to the maintenance checks,
Yes.
but that's just more of a reminder.
Safety for when you
Safety, yeah.
So
We
you're
don't
sending any overseas?
Not yet. We are about to send 2 to Dubai with one of our very first seed investors. Came over actually this year. And we're going to, about a third, besides the 2 Dubai ones, about a third in Australia, a third in the Europe, and a third in America. So obviously the US is the hardest to get insurance for, but we did manage to do it. So.
Shipping insurance?
Oh, no.
Really?
Product liability insurance.
Oh.
Shipping insurance is the least of our concerns.
How much is like shipping that? Because
look, that ranges between, for a box, we do it out in a heavy duty cardboard box, about $400. 350 to 400. It's actually cheaper to ship to Hawaii than to ship to WA. So it's one thing I found out in the last 2 days.
Would you ship it in a carton or would it be in a crate?
Just the cardboard box with the full flaps carton, I suppose you want to call it.
Yeah, double corrugated cardboard.
It's not heavy enough to warrant anything further. We've looked at other products that's sort of gone to about 50, 60, and they had metal reinforcement and all that stuff. But we've sort of dropped our board into a box and nothing to punch it.
It's foam.
Bubble wrap or something?
Yeah, just the sharp points, but just cover it up with a bit of.
What PSI do you run in the tyres, or do you suggest?
33. Sometimes we just
Okay,
test
so they're
it.
fairly firm.
Yeah, because we do have suspension, so
Yeah.
we don't really rely on the tire to do so much for it.
Had any trouble with peeling tyres off rims?
No.
No?
No issues. We've designed a pretty robust rim, double what it needs to be.
It's a very tight rim, and putting the tires on needs a bit of a tool, but that doesn't come off.
Yeah. Have you seen like Tannis who have got the solid tyres that are reasonably quite light? Because one of the things for me is like, I ride bikes. There's 2 tyres that can go flat on me. I'm seeing 4 tyres that can go flat on me.
Yeah.
And nothing pisses me off more than going out for a ride and then got a flat tyre. Yeah, it's no big deal to deal with it. It's just it's a pain in the ass. That's all.
Yeah.
So
can you ride with a single flat?
I think we can, yeah. I think
We don't, obviously, we'll say go back home as quickly as you can, but it'll work. It will go. There's enough power to get kicked.
It's a bit different from a bicycle then.
yeah. I just pop them on.
Do you ever recommend different pressures for different surfaces?
Yeah, we're going to do some sand testing. We'll lower it to 20 or something just to get a more surface area, but we really don't notice a difference that often. I mean, the tire actually heats up a lot because it actually does a lot of work. Because it tilts and steers at the same time. So tires do get a bit warm on use. But just mainly run about 30, 33.
Right. And with tyre tread, did you experiment with different types?
We looked for a different number of tyres out there to try and find the perfect one, but we settled on this one.
That's really the only tyre available in that particular size, 10x2s, because we're sort of at an awkward size when we look for tyres. We can go a bit bigger, and there's plenty of pram tyres, but they wear out about 100 metres down the road. Which would have been a good consumable, but not that quickly. So these are off-road scooter tyres that happen to be in this size we wanted. We could have gone smaller with typical mountain board tyres or sort of smaller scooter tyres, but the uprights just needed more room to fit into it. So that was one of the more decided factors based on what we can actually get.
You want to go over objects, you need to have a bigger tyre. You didn't want to go lower than about 10 inches just to get over everything that occurs in nature is roughly about 9 inches, whatever. So we just tried to get over those obstacles. About 10 inches was the perfect size.
Wicked. So can you put a little tow hitch on it, or come on, tell us the truth. What have you towed with it so far?
I towed him on a bike up a hill. We might have a clip for it.
Not on this one. But we've towed other people on boards. One of the pro mountain boarders for the mountain board company called MBS. He lives in Berwick actually, so we towed him on a board behind us, doing a bit of
Just doing jumps.
yeah.
Yeah. So it should tow about, I'd say 150 kilos.
Yeah.
Pretty easily. Yeah, it's got a
Wow.
lot of grunt.
That, yeah. I just want to ride it actually. Tell you the truth.
Take it downstairs.
We'll have a ride day in the next month or so, I think. For you guys, I'm going to want to come down and have a
Love
ride.
to.
Yeah,
Love
let
to.
us know about a ride day and those.
Yeah.
Yeah, come down.
Yeah, and is the investment side of things like sorted? Are you still looking for?
We're sort of getting ready for that phase. We've got seed investors. We're sort of getting our business case set up. We've got to demonstrate value proposition and getting the financials right. So we're working with the partners to help us do that. It's sort of investment for this consumer product, quite dangerous. It's a bit tricky, but we have no shortage of interest. So it's just a matter of showing people, okay, well, if you're going to do it, we're going to get people that's going to be buying it. And as long as we demonstrate that, we've got people we're talking to at the moment that's interested.
Is there any of the IP that you've been able to protect by patent or not really?
We've done a patent for we claimed the whole board under a patent, which was a bit hopeful. Was a nice try, the lawyer said, but certainly the chassis and the suspension we have been advised is considered inventive for a board sports apparatus. So we've got a PCT on that. And all the internal electronics and firmware we've sort of kept secret. We don't let it out. There's no point letting it out. So that's something we might patent down the track as well.
Or just turn into a trade secret or something.
Yeah.
The colours green, white, and red. Why did you decide on them, and why did you decide on the logo that you had on the top?
You're going to have to ask this bloke.
Yes, I'm Italian, so that's why.
It's not meant to be that color. He's bastard.
Okay.
But that's the logo.
Not that color though. It should just be a nice
Yeah, it should be like
cyan color.
And the logo?
It's a cactus in front of a mountain.
Yes. And it has number 4 on the top. What is that?
That's just a cactus. That's a cactus logo, yeah.
So the idea behind the whole name and the logo was Baja is obviously the Baja 1000 rally, very off-roady, very probably the toughest race.
Hunter S. Thompson, I think.
We'll try to replicate that feel. We don't want to make it too overstated, extreme board or one of those names. We said, just make it understated. It's a nice reference. People don't get it, that's fine. It's got 2 B's, and let's go from there.
This is off which you almost.
I don't put a Chinese flag on it. You put an Aussie flag.
In terms of braking, do you run the same regen front and back when braking, or is it biased one?
Yeah.
At the moment, yes,
Yeah.
but I'm thinking to change. I don't know if it's but yes, more yes.
There's always a bit of braking when you come off the throttle, just when you let go, so you don't roll on forever. So when you're coming down a hill, you let go of the throttle. It's almost like a downhill descent control. Just you don't roll out of control.
What percentage did you build in for when you backed off from the acceleration? What percentage of the acceleration?
About 1 or 2%. In actual limited braking, we call it off-throttle braking. So as soon as you drop the throttle, you can probably get out 1 or 2% with the brake, which is, it'll just get you slowed down within 50 meters or 20
It's a
meters.
test.
Do you bring the brake lights on at the time
No.
that you put up the
No,
acceleration?
so at the moment, this
It's not on, so
It's
if you
not,
come
and
on,
then actual brake.
Yep.
So yeah, the off throttle will go just on the rear. So the front will be always free rolling.
I mean, the deciding factor was, we tested it as if we drop the controller, you let go, are you going to fall over when it breaks you? And so we had to get to a point where it's natural slow down.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to ride it. Yeah. It looks like I could really see it taking off. Red Bull it screams Red Bull to me.
Yep.
I have to do a decal for the board too.
Yep, some sort of weird wacky sport, like monster trucks, but just in a smaller environment.
You're sort of limited where you can use it, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Well, the laws in it.
But a joke, you know, you find yourself a track where you can have a sport, racing sport.
Yeah,
So and
exactly.
you could, because
Yeah.
it's a fairly good vehicle.
By all means, yeah, using a mountain bike track or a BMX track, yeah, we
Yeah.
test them regularly. So
Excellent.
I think
What about the
California
liability of, you know, danger? Is there anything in the law that says that,
pertaining to a skateboard.
yeah?
There's no design
Doesn't matter
regulations
what-
around. I mean, there's no design regulations surrounding a skateboard as such. I mean, there's FCC requirement for the wireless controller, but you can just buy a pre-certified module for it. No, I mean, we follow the model of like mountain bikes and skateboards. Inherently risky. You're not buying this thinking it's going to be safe. You know, you're buying this understanding you know it's going to be risky. So any sort of injuries, unless you can prove, obviously it's a faulty design, you stand on it, the arm breaks, you fall over. Okay, well that's our fault. But if you drive into a wall,
Yeah.
you can drive into a wall. We can't help you on that one.
Yeah, you're right. It's really golf. What about the price? What sort of price do you have?
Oh, look, at the moment, the pre-ordering is about $5,000 Aussie or 3,800 US. We buy a lot of stuff in US dollars, so that's what we're based. At the start of the year, it was a lot cheaper in Australian dollars, but now it's not so much. So people are having regrets of not ordering at the start of the year. I said, well, I should have done it. Do it now before it goes even lower. So yeah, ideally, the final pricing once we get mass production, will be around 3,000 to 4,000 Australian dollars. We don't want to get to the same point as the other electric skateboards because we want to be a few runs above where they are in terms of the exclusivity and nature of the product.
Do you have any warranty or something like that?
I think Australia has the automatic 12-month. It's got to work within 12 months. Overseas, we provide about 3-month warranty on the parts. It's mostly workmanship warranty. It's covered, of course. Yeah.
I suppose you just assume that people will crash it and at some point the bits will break. It's, I mean, if I had one.
If we buy, well, you got to buy tires every now and again, definitely. Other consumables, belts will come loose maybe after about a year. Tires once every, depends on how often you ride, 2-3 months. There are little wearable things inside the outdrive system that you have to replace. That they're quite cheap. Those are the only 3 consumables. Everything else will be a case yes, if you crash it, then.
If you don't crash it, you're just not riding it properly. I agree.
Not trying.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we'll suspect the battery will take about 1 year before it is replaced and just to go through the cycles.
So you build the wheels yourself, you don't buy them off the shelf,
The wheels are, yeah. The tires are off the shelf. The wheels we build ourselves.
and the suspension, like the uprights, you get them cast.
Everything is CNC machined at the moment.
CNC.
So, and that's part of the reason we're doing the exercise to go to casting and molding and what have you. So everything at the moment is very flexible. We can change the design overnight, and we can make a new board of some sort. That's the reason we're keeping it for the first at least 2 to 3 batches. So if someone does come back and feedback and say, well, ride height too high or turning is not good enough, we can make a change and have a new one out within a month.
Change the models, is it?
Yeah, a new model. Or at least the only criteria has got to be retrofittable to an existing one. So we can change the design anyway, but not the actual main joining points.
How many of them do you have to get next to each other before you have interference problems with the remote?
There's no interference.
You ride really side by side.
We've had, 4 up to now. We haven't done more than that yet. Yeah.
Okay.
Same channel, but we send different address.
So do you guys
So
have
you
to
and
pair
your-
them? Or
Sorry?
do you guys have to pair them? Or if I had multiple boards, could I myself change the pairing of one controller to another board? Or were they pre-paired when you send them out?
Yeah, so
We factory set them to
Yeah.
a certain address.
So like we have like this big file where I know every single board of which address has all this stuff.
If they wanted to change,
If
say
they
they
want to
break a
change.
controller or something, we could just send them a file so they could change their firmware and their board to suit their new controller.
So yeah, so basically it should be there is this software, BajaBoard software, not your computer. You read on your control the address inside, and then you write on the software. You recommend the board, read from that address. So you can change the address of where you have to receive, but not where you send.
Okay. Yeah.
So you can receive just from one and control.
And the user will always be able to do that if he has 10. If he's brought 10 units of you,
Yeah.
one fails, one hand controller fails.
Yeah, so you can use another
He has
control.
that information to do that, so he can do it without consulting.
Yeah, through the software.
If somebody stole my board but I still had my remote, I would not be happy if the thief could get a remote and get it.
It'd be quite odd though. Someone buying a remote from us without having previously bought a board. We'd sort of.
It stands out.
Yeah.
Right now, it's all we know the guys individually that buy it. It's more, I think once we go to distribution, then that becomes a bit.
Well, yes,
it's partners problem.
Are you going to run out of
Go to
addresses?
distribution.
Well,
you're hoping
so many.
to?
And if we do, I think it's huge change in China. So we have like 254, 55 China per week, and I don't know how many addresses. So
Maybe that many
Five
boards we
digits,
did, but
yeah, we have 5 digits. So yeah, so we have 15 for 15
So
different
it's a bit like
numbers.
DMX, lighting DMX, that sort of.
It's like a MAC address. It's basically the same address. But yeah, we set the address. So it's like 5 different times 15 on each number. So
Sounds
it's
like you have plenty.
last 20.
it'll be nice if we ran out of them, but
So it's like
take a while to.
I'm already envisaging like putting a little GPS tracker in there, and then putting a little sound system, because you've got the battery there, and you can get quite good sound systems that are quite small.
Yeah.
And I think.
As long as it's drowning out your screams while you're on it.
You don't want a TV set.
Yeah, big plasma right in front.
We charge our phones off these.
Yeah.
So we're out the field. So
Oh,
just
yeah, it's got a little
control.
USB.
we put them on there just for
Yeah.
us.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
It has a standard Mac USB, so like a Samsung or the phone like that.
That's all part of the future option ups.
Yeah.
That's for USB charger.
Yeah, like I've done that on.
Give us a-
Give us
Give us $1,000, we'll expose to 5-volt wires.
Yeah.
Do you have much in the way of options on your book, on your sort of catalogue at the moment, apart from the springs to suit the person's way?
Not at the moment. At the moment, we're sort of concentrating on getting this particular model down right, and then we've got a list of things we want to put in. A seat,
Turning into like a luge or something like that, like an uphill luge.
He hates it, but that's my next project, to get a seat in front of him and strap it on. But yeah, different wheels. Golf courses, wider wheels. You can't ride these on golf courses yet. Different kind of lights.
Balance board.
Yeah, different battery settings and programming modes, and get a phone app that you can link in and you can sort of preset it with your phone as opposed to having to plug it into a laptop. So there's a lot of options we can work with. It's just going through a time.
Wow. Nice work. Nice work.
Yeah, it's a finished product on those, so you're well underway. Your development on those and design is very good on those. You've come up with something quite unique on those and a good product. See how you go with it. Just keep pushing it.
It's another. This is the sort of first release. It's going to be another 12 months until the actual proper mass production friendly version. So
Okay.
every time we finish a revision, we go, oh, yeah, we're finished now. And then we realize,
Oh,
no.
You'll never
There's another whole thing, and then it's just a matter of.
But you say you're going to do 50 of these, so you're doing a 50 run.
We're doing the 50 run right now. We haven't decided how many more runs we will do after this, because it does take.
See where you're up to. Yeah. That's
See how long it takes, how efficient we can get, what improvements we can make on just the assembling times, and so on and so on. That's where MTM is helping us as well. And then after that, whether we put it on hold until mass production is done, or whether we just keep selling it for cash flow reasons, then we can decide
Probably
on it.
depend on the demand as well. How much demand builds up and a number of things. your manufacturing company that you're talking with too. You know, you've got a manufacturing, a local one here who you're working with, and those can help you with streamlining its production. And you know, that's another thing you look at, of course, is your cost.
Yeah.
You know, your labour cost and what's involved in producing the item.
Exactly. It's all the
At the
non-design stuff.
moment, how many are you looking at producing in each batch run? Like 10, 20?
About 50.
You've got enough room for that?
Yeah, we've got enough. Well, we've got enough physical room, but it takes us about maybe 2 months to get to that number.
Does that mean you
Would that-
buy 50 sets of parts and then assemble them
Yes.
several at a time? Or?
Yeah, it's for it to make you sort of, you know, scale of economy. That's the sort of smallest number we need to get to
Batches of 50. Yeah.
around before we can go quick. Well, you can go a bit lower, but then just cut your own margins and just the point.
But essentially, it's the 50 is based on buying sets of parts.
Yeah. And it's all based on CNC machining and hand assembly, everything. So, you know, obviously, once it gets to molding, it's going to drop cost by at least 50%, if not more.
There's a program on telly called The Sharks. Are you considering appearing?
The
Sharks.
Shark Tank.
Shark Tank, yes.
Yeah, I think it's finished, isn't it? Season 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a consideration? For the
It depends. It depends on from the 5 investors up there at the moment. We sort of struggle to see what value add they could put in except money. No offense to any of them. It's, you know, we sort of want, if someone was extreme sports up there, okay, yeah, let's go. But, you know, boost the juice, nice. But
I can see a version with Caterpillar tracks for the snow.
Yep.
Yeah, a friend of mine went about making a snow couch, electric snow couch, which had varying success because he made his own tracks and they, teething problems, shall we say. But yeah, you know.
I did a concept drawing for it a while ago. I put a track on each corner. It's still in my mind, but yeah, I've got other things to worry about.
Yeah, look, you should be really proud of yourselves. Is this your day job for all of you?
Yeah.
Right. What was your day jobs beforehand?
I was a robotics and automation engineer.
yeah, engineering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In
I did engineering, yeah.
Where?
Found it.
Oh, cool.
I did engineering consulting. Worked with a brand called Power Stations. You guys won't like that too much. You're in Crow Valley, so yeah. Designing stuff.
Oh, it's good that you woke up and smelled the
I
flowers.
expected that, yeah.
Yeah. Moved
This
over
was
to
very
the
much
other
a fun project that turned into, the fact that it's powerful because it's electrical and it responds faster. It's, it's a bonus for us, yeah.
That's right. There's a lot more you can do with it being electric. So
Yeah.
there's a lot more capability.
And also it's easier to, yes, the batteries are, dangerous, hazardous goods to ship, but you don't have anything about EPA to worry about when you ship to the US States. Otherwise you've got to, pay them some money.
Yeah, we have same trouble bringing batteries into Australia on those. Occasionally they'll be packaged correctly, and they'll just end up being sent back, and they have to send them again.
Well, all the batteries from China usually come with a little bullshit sticker on them that says that they're only
2 ampere hour.
2 ampere hour, some rubbish like that. Battery like this.
Yeah, that's better than what we get is like when a battery comes in and it says 15 amp hours and it's just about 2 amp hours.
Then you're
in trouble.
a bit disappointed.
Now, how big's can you turn it up so you can see the size of the battery compartment? Because I'm already thinking of upgrading it to NMC and seeing how many cells I can put in there.
The battery goes from about there to there.
Yeah, these go.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you could really go like maybe 25,
Yeah, but imagine
30.
this is the PCB.
Yeah.
And here we have the differential.
Yep.
And here we have the big contact. So we can reduce the size of this, put more like forward.
Yep.
Remove this, and then increase.
put them somewhere. So
But
like the
but
track
we
marker.
have to change quite a lot about the electronics.
Like in some of the designs that we're building here, like with the e-bikes, we're not using contactors and that anymore. because we're using a MOSFET, soft start MOSFET power switching on those, to turn your power
how
on.
many current can what's the current?
210 amps per MOSFET, so we might parallel 2 or 3 of them on those, so you can easily handle 400 amps on those with the
Yeah, the thing
MOSFET
is,
controller.
we bought this. These are 120 amps peak for each. So we we are not using all that current.
Oh, yeah. So what's your contactor rated at then, or contact you're using? What's the rating of the mechanical contactor in it?
Actually, no, it's top of my head.
It's not a spec sheet.
Is it enough to control
Yeah,
your controller?
yeah, exactly. Because we are not using all that power, but we said we are buying this just to be safe. We are definitely in the next generation. Reduce the power controller and remove the contactor because we see we are not actually using all that power. Put this, put 6 reasons, and we say okay, just use a big contactor.
Yeah, at the moment I'm doing an electric go-kart that's 5 kilowatts, and we're using a MOSFET, power switching and that, and contactors and that as well.
Yeah, that's the idea. Change the contactor to the MOSFET.
Yes, yeah, and those that will save a little bit of weight and that in it. And like NMC batteries, like your headway cells on those, quite physically large on those with 18650 NMC batteries, you can fit a lot more capacity and that in there. I don't know what the cost is going to be compared with your headways. Yeah, there's a cost comparison is important as well, isn't it?
And then it's the BMS factor as well.
Yeah, that's the big
It's
thing.
BMS factor, like how we going to
the headways actually require more BMS management than NMCs would.
This is less,
Because of their lithium iron phosphate and they have a shallower voltage range.
Okay.
yeah.
And the NMCs are easier to build a BMS for. So we think that.
Yeah, we monitor every cell on this board, so we always know what's going on.
Okay.
In terms of like range due to battery size, what's the limiting factor? Is it how much physical space you have for batteries, the weight, or the price?
It's all put together. You don't want to put batteries on this to make it really heavy and really hard to ride, but it's got.
So you've kind of tuned it to the point where it's kind of getting towards all of those.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I use the bid price as well.
Yeah.
That's an important factor too.
Yeah.
So.
So if you took price out of it, would you sacrifice a bit of weight to get more range,
I
or?
probably would, yeah.
We'll make a second package.
Or just go on a diet.
It's about 4 kilos. About 4.5 kilos of battery.
Okay, so
Yeah,
okay, so
0.7.
maybe 20% or so.
It's not a lot of the weight of the whole product. No.
Not just the box, just this box with the motor were 11 kilo.
Okay.
There's no real silver bullet, except for the battery. It's more of a cumulative of everything getting bolted on and we get a final weight.
Yeah, wow. Well, I can see the battery compartment's fairly large, so I can see further. Battery technology is just going crazy. So I can see like in 3 years' time having easily double the triple range.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And probably a little lighter as well.
Yeah.
I would definitely change, with the contactor, reduce the PCB. Because the problem with the PCB, the PCB now is quite big. And we are doing, I designed this way because we solder all by hand, so every single component. So do like 4 layer, for example, or double side, and solder all by hand, that will be quite hard. So
Too much human error.
yeah, so what the design was like more do properly, and then the next time you do better.
Yeah.
You got to get your hands in there, put clips in and stuff. So
Yeah.
bigger PCB just makes it a whole lot easier for us to assemble.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Like the main parts like the PCB are like the connect. So like there's 4 connector on the motors. They are quite big, and the connector is big times 4. So yeah, most of the space is with the connect.
Gotcha.
A lot of the design considerations are for assembling in that battery box. So we don't want things shorting out. We don't want things being able to get across too easily. So
No, it isn't a chair. You have to think of how you're going to construct it and
yeah,
you have room for the connectors and
exactly. Yeah.
other things that you require.
just a lot of space in there, just so you can get your hand in there to put stuff in is a main consideration. So even though there is some free space in there, putting other stuff in there might just hinder the production process a little bit.
Well, of course, you don't want to do that. Your labour and constructing has got to be able to be simple to be assembled and that. So.
Yeah.
My 70-year-old mother would really like to have some handlebars up the front when she's going down the shops on it.
Yep.
Be able to hang the shopping bags on it. And,
But if the 25-year-old male saw a 70-year-old woman on one, he would.
You've got to wait for the Facebook.
yeah,
We'll paint a different colour. Sell it on a different brand. Nice board or something.
Different brand names.
We'll put your 75-year-old grandmother on an electric trike or something. So
yeah.
you can ride that.
So the motor's AC or DC or?
Brushes, these.
Brushes.
Yep. 3 codes.
Oh, 3 codes.
Sensorless or?
Three.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why like all the motor going all the 6 speed, because there is no control to read the actual speed of the motor thanks to the sensor.
Right.
We're on a temperature sensor on that PCB inside the motor as well, so monitor at all times.
That's yeah. I want to ride one. So yeah, let's organise this ride day.
Sure, yeah.
Be good. Yeah, we are.
Yeah. Get bring my helmet and my
GoPro.
insurance.
Sign a waiver.
There will be a waiver. There's always a waiver.
When you come here tonight, did you think you were going to get so many questions?
Oh, I always expected it.
Yeah. It's good to get tech questions. Usually when we test, we get a lot of business questions.
Yeah.
Like, what colours does it come in?
Yeah, that's pretty much the extent of the technicality.
Is it how fast does it go?
Yeah.
How fast does it go?
And what happens when the plug goes over the wall?
Yeah.
It keeps it. No, great. Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks, guys.
Yeah, so there is a charger, there's a plug,